What's up everyone, this is Tony with Journey Crypto. In this video, I'm going to be going over some important Bitcoin data and news that does suggest we will be retesting major resistance levels here of 38 to 40,000 at some point in the next week and a half or so, which is also going to be huge for altcoins. So I'm going to go into details on this and show you guys some important data you should definitely see. Before we get started, I do appreciate if you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell to be notified for my daily crypto videos. Alright guys, so I do have some bullish data to go over with you guys. It does suggest Bitcoin in the crypto space is getting bullish, but we are starting the week off with a small dip here. Bitcoin down 2.5%, around $33,000. Ethereum down nearly 5%, hovering around 2050, and other altcoins down 2 to 5% as well. Polkadot down around 5%, Uniswap 4.5%. Solana 5.5%, Chainlink nearly 5%, Theta 6.5%. So we do have a couple things adding extra fear and panic to the markets right now, like the Grayscale GBTC unlocking coming in the next week. I don't think this will have a big effect on the markets though, and I do think after this passes, the markets will be on an upwards trend, especially with all this bullish data I'm going to be going over. Another thing is the looming regulations. We're getting news of regulations day after day. Pretty much every country out there is looking into regulating cryptocurrencies. While this will cause short-term panic and volatility, it is a good thing in the very long term. All right, guys, I'm going to go over some important Bitcoin data on Glassnode today. Some of this is very bullish, and why I believe we could be retesting major resistance levels of $38,000 to $40,000 Bitcoin over the next week and a half. So first, here being early signs of miner recovery. As you guys know, China banned Bitcoin mining, and this did cause a huge drop in the Bitcoin hash rate. We're now seeing a rapid hash rate recovery, which may suggest offline miners have successfully relocated or reestablished their hardware. Another possibility is previously obsolete hardware has been dusted off and found a new lease on life. So with the crypto market crash and China banning Bitcoin mining, we did have a rapid drop in Bitcoin hash rate here. As you guys can see, it bottomed out. Now recovering from that bottom, which is definitely a good indicator. I do think this will be on a steady rise towards end of year, as facilities from China get relocated and set up in new countries, as well as new facilities just being set up in general for the clean energy Bitcoin mining push, since that is a major problem right now. So the miner net position change metric has returned to accumulation, which is also a good sign. This indicates that what sell side pressure is coming from offline miners is more than offset by accumulation by the operational miners. So as you guys can see the chart here, Bitcoin miner net position change. As we were at the peak here, we were in the green, and after the crypto market crash, this entered the red of miner distribution, now entering the green again, returning to miner accumulation, another good sign. So next up, some very bullish data in my opinion, the depletion of exchange reserves. A key theme throughout 2020 and Q1 2021 was relentless depletion of exchange coin reserves. So throughout May, this trend dramatically reversed as a flood of Bitcoin was deposited to exchanges alongside the market selling off by around 50%. On a 14-day moving average basis, the last 2 weeks in particular have seen a more positive return to exchange outflows at a rate of around 2,000 Bitcoins per day. So this is very important in my opinion, definitely some good data to keep your eye on. So as you guys can see, this did peak out here as the market was crashing. So that is definitely a good sign that there is going to be a dump when you do see the Bitcoin inflow dominance peaking here. This does mean people are sending their Bitcoin and crypto from cold storage and their private wallet to exchanges to sell that cryptocurrency. And we did see this really play out here while the market was crashing. And just the opposite, outflow dominance, when we see people buying up Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies on exchanges and sending them off to their private wallets and cold storage to hold long-term for their long-term price targets. This does create a shortage of Bitcoin on exchanges. So as demand is rising while the supply is shrinking, that only means the price of Bitcoin should be going up. So as we can see, when this did bottom out here around end of 2020, that's when we really started seeing the price of Bitcoin rally over the next few months. So this is definitely something good to watch. If we do see this continue going down, that's going to be very bullish in my opinion. So outflow dominance is a good sign. It shows that people are feeling comfortable buying Bitcoin at these current prices around $30,000 to $34,000 Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin supply outflows continues, that's definitely a great sign, meaning less Bitcoin will be in circulation. If we do get any huge news, that could cause a supply shock to Bitcoin, which gives us that boost we need to really retest major resistance levels here of 38 to 40,000. So the price of Bitcoin has been pretty flat here, hovering slightly above major support levels for the last couple of weeks. We haven't really tested the $30,000 major support again, since we did hit that spring here of around $28,000 Bitcoin. Some people do believe we're still in the earlier phases of Wyckoff accumulation though. But even in the Wyckoff accumulation, that does have us retesting major resistance levels here before dropping back down, and then testing the true spring here, which would be around $26,000 to $28,000 Bitcoin. So personally, I am dollar cost averaging at these lower levels and accumulating Bitcoin and altcoins that I want to hold for the very long term. I do have a very long-term outlook on cryptocurrencies though. I have been dollar cost averaging for over the last 4 years now, and I have been very successful just buying major dips and then taking small profits along the way as you're moving up is definitely a good practice as well. So another chart here that does show the balance of Bitcoin on exchanges steadily dropping as the price of Bitcoin is steadily rising. So right now we do have a small drop here from the middle of the market crash, which is definitely a good sign. If this continues going downwards, the price should start reflecting this as well, especially with any major news that does drive a lot of demand to the crypto space. The thing is, we do have a lot of regulations kicking in right now, so there is a lot of fear in the markets still. But I think if this continues downwards, people continue accumulating, the longer we're in these low 30,000s for Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin that's going to be taken out of circulation for long-term holding. And that's definitely going to make it easier for us to continue upwards in the near future. So this data does suggest a supply shock is underway for Bitcoin, and any huge breaking news for Bitcoin can definitely drive the demand needed to break these major resistance levels of $38,000 to $40,000 Bitcoin. So another interesting thing here is the Bitcoin network user growth is actually at an all-time high for 2021. We're getting 32,000 new users on the Bitcoin network every day, and that's continuing to grow, which is very interesting because there's a lot of fear in the markets, and regardless, new users are continuing to get into the crypto space. Although we do have El Salvador doing that Bitcoin airdrop, and citizens do have to create a Bitcoin wallet to receive the $30 Bitcoin airdrop. So that could definitely be some of the all-time high of new users here. But regardless, we're at more new users per day than we were at the peak price of Bitcoin. All-time highs around $64,000. So we also have great buy. Bitcoin trades at record 59% below stock to flow Bitcoin price model target. Bitcoin has never been so far below where stock to flow predictions call for it to be. So some are saying this is a great buying opportunity. Negative stock to flow deflection is the highest it's ever been in the whole Bitcoin history. This is a great buying opportunity if you're a believer in this stock to flow model. So Bitcoin stock to flow deflection, as we can see, this is bottomed out here, more so than it ever has been. So that could be a bottom signal, but of course things can drop further, especially since regulations could kick in and we could get some really bad news at any time here. But it is impossible to time the exact bottom. So we do have to keep that in mind, which is why I do dollar cost averaging and just spread out my purchases on any dips. I just take that as opportunity because no one's going to predict the exact bottom or the exact top 100% of the time. So the Bitcoin stock to flow model is pretty interesting. And if we're looking at the last bull run here, it did peak out greatly above the stock to flow model, hitting around $20,000 Bitcoin. So the colors on the Bitcoin price chart does indicate the days until the next Bitcoin halving. As you guys can see, we did start peaking out here in the last bull market when we were entering the green zone. So we haven't even entered the green zone yet. We're currently in the yellow. We're getting very close here. So if this does play out somewhat similarly, we will see Bitcoin peaking out over $100,000 sometime October or November or December. So we still have a lot of bullish events by end of year. That definitely makes me believe this market can recover to over 100,000 end of year. Stuff like the Bitcoin Taproot upgrade, other blockchain upgrades, countries considering making Bitcoin legal tender, institutions that will be buying more Bitcoin, and so on. So many different things that are happening, more steps towards mass adoption every single day, even with the market around $30,000 Bitcoin. So we do have the looming grayscale unlock, which is causing a lot of extra panic in the space, and I don't think this is going to affect the price of Bitcoin as much as people expect, which could actually be bullish once this does pass and people see there isn't a huge effect on the markets. A lot of money could be entering from the sidelines again, especially with any other huge announcements and leading up to the B-Word event hosted by Jack Dorsey. So some mixed opinions on this. Investors now have more incentive to go buy GBTC shares rather than Bitcoin. It diverts some of the buying pressure on Bitcoin spot markets. This is bearish. So while this is true, I don't think it'll matter that much. It will take some of the buying pressure away from Bitcoin, going to GBTC shares instead. But regardless, if we do have some big news, that'll give us the demand needed to retest major resistance, since we are leading into a supply shock for Bitcoin as well as more Bitcoin gets taken off of exchanges. We also have bullish price metric nears the launch zone. So dubbed the taker buy sell volume ratio, it tracks exchange data to produce a guide for when to hodl and when is a good opportunity to take profit during a local market cycle. Right now, the ratio appears to be forecasting another Bitcoin USD surge, leading to a classic take profit point. So another interesting chart here that is bullish. We are getting close to this launch zone, which the previous two times we did enter this launch zone did follow with upwards price action for Bitcoin. The second one here was right before the huge upwards rise to all-time highs of $64,000. So lots of bullish data out there for Bitcoin. Pretty much all the data is showing that things are looking bullish again, and we will be on a steady uptrend over the next couple months. And I am still very bullish for breaking $100,000 Bitcoin by end of year. So the next couple weeks here, we're going to have the grayscale unlock happen. And I think if this doesn't have a huge effect on the markets, a lot of the money on the sidelines will be re-entering the markets, especially with a big announcement. Will definitely give us that boost we need to retest $38,000 to $40,000. And with that boost of Bitcoin, altcoins will also get a bigger boost, in my opinion, especially the ones that are bullish in the short term. So altcoins will rise more than Bitcoin as Bitcoin is in a steady uptrend, but they also drop more as Bitcoin is dropping as well. So we do have to keep this in mind going forward. Take this as a learning opportunity to refine your entry and exit strategies and know what you want to do going forward. And I think anyone that's in the crypto space for the very long term is going to be very successful 5 to 10 years out. So that's it for today's update on why I'm bullish on Bitcoin in the short term, and we could be retesting major resistance levels. If you guys found it useful, I do appreciate if you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified for my daily crypto videos. You can also comment below or share this video with anyone else that may find it useful. Everything helps the channel grow, and I do really appreciate it. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.